and welcome to another episode of Hard Factor presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Florida Man Friday, February 28th, 2020. Normally, that's the last day of February. Not this year. We got one more, February 29th on Saturday. How you boys doing down in Austin?
Doing good. We filmed our new predicted pick show earlier.
Right before this, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. We did steaks.
We did steaks, yes.
Yeah. It's been an awesome week. Ready for it to end, but it's been great.
Ready for a weekend. I'm sure like all the listeners, too. All right, well, let's get into it. We all got two stories. Pat is still out getting his computer broken by Delta somewhere, so he's not in today. It's going to be Wes, Will, myself, and then Mark. 2 rounds. Wes, get us going.
All right, we got to start the news off with the one that was probably the most submitted story ever on Florida Man Friday. Herpes monkeys may have it beat, but it's up there.
It's definitely
coming
up
to
there.
us from.
I don't. This may have been more. It was about the same. It was on par with herpes monkeys.
No, you guys are just you're doing the recency bias.
You think so?
Yeah, top 3 for sure. Herpes monkeys was won by a mile.
I'm about to name the most names we've ever named.
Okay.
This one comes from Zach Graham, Clint Kelly, Stein Ryan, FC Brian 25, Captain Landon, Dennis McElhone, Julio Rosales, Dusty Kane, App State Funbelt. And also, before we get going, let me just take this time to thank Mr. Chris Dobbin. Chris graciously sent us a gift card to Home Depot so that I can join the desk crew. So hopefully by next week I will have a desk and a side table. Chris, you are a good man. We really appreciate it.
Chris is your sugar daddy now.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I guess.
owe Chris a hand job.
Well, he's not going to get that, but he will get a lot of thanks. But hey, let's
over the pants.
I'll drape a blanket over him and rub it. All right, so let's get this going, guys. Guys, the game of hide and seek is usually an innocent and fun game you play with, as a child. It's up there with the best game of all time, second only to flashlight tag, which is a combination of hide and seek and tag. And, of course, throw the acorn at each other's faces, which only comes around every now and again, but was great.
You used to play that?
I used to play that.
The old
absolutely.
acorn at the face because it's softer than a rock.
Right. Yeah.
That makes
and
sense.
it's just acceptable, but it always ended badly. But hide and seek stands as one of the greats, and it's usually awesome. That is, unless you play it as an adult and get drunk and pick/get locked inside a hiding place with limited oxygen, and then someone forgets/passes out and you die, or purposely keeps you in there.
Yeah, that takes a little bit of the innocence away. That
sounds bad.
That stings.
That just sounds like a nightmare, really.
Right, takes the fun right out of it.
That's hide and die, and no one seeks you.
And that's kind of what happened to one unfortunate Florida man in Orange County, 42-year-old Jorge Torres Jr., when his psychotic and drunk girlfriend, Sarah Boone, decided it would be funny to zip Jorge inside a suitcase and keep him there until he died.
So it wasn't even hide and seek?
Well, her side of the story is this.
It just sounds like she murdered him.
Especially if she was the person finding him. She knew where he was if she zipped him up.
Well, here's her side of the story. Her side of the story is that she simply passed out after they both agreed that it would be funny for Jorge to be locked inside the suitcase. Like, hey, you tried to hide in there, but let's see if I can just...
hilarious agreement you always have where you're like,
lock me in a
suitcase.
There's no chance in hell.
Yeah.
There's no chance in hell.
Right, but her cell phone video
she
clips...
drugged him, put him in a suitcase,
right,
and slept like a baby after committing her heinous crime.
Right, well, her cell phone video that police discovered the very next day tells a very different and more sadistic tale. Seems that somehow Sarah convinced Jorge, like I said, to let her zip his ass up inside the suitcase, and then proceeded to taunt him as the poor man begged and pleaded to be let out of the death case. Boone quipped back at him, quote, for everything you've done to me, fuck you. And then he replied, I can't fucking breathe, seriously. And then she said, yeah, that's what you do when you choke me. So some abuse. Whoa. Yeah, so it gets a little, some abuse there.
Tip for anyone at home, if you're choking your significant other, don't fall for the suitcase trick.
Right. Don't then voluntarily hop inside their suitcase.
Preferably don't choke.
Right. Don't do that. Don't do either of those. Those are both advisable.
Don't do the suitcase thing.
To avoid if you're trying to maintain a relationship.
That's quite the trust test. Like when you fall backwards, getting locked in a suitcase.
Have the suitcase waiting for you. You fall into it. It's a trust fall.
Trust fall
lock him
into a
into
suitcase.
Yeah, so and then Jorge, he kept begging and begging, and she said, "You should probably shut the fuck up." And that's when she claimed she went and passed out. And then the next morning saw 2 missed calls from Jorge. Couldn't hear him in the house because he was dead in the suitcase.
Wait, he had his cell phone in there, placing phone calls.
Yeah, I guess he had it in his pocket.
Probably should have called the cops.
He should have called the cops. Is what he should have done. And maybe that's how they found him eventually.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, she's booked on second-degree murder, as she should be.
How is that even second degree? I mean.
Well, because I guess second degree, it's like, it happened. She didn't really plan it
You
out.
had time to take him out of the bag. I mean, like.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Telling him to get in the bag makes it premeditated. Like, she planned it out at some point.
Right.
Like, she thought about it.
She's
then convinced him to get in the bag.
Yeah,
and then taunted him as he was dying.
Right.
That sounds like first degree to me.
She knew how much he loved hide and seek, that's for sure.
If anything could be first degree, that sounds like first.
Sounds clearly thought out and planned.
Yeah. So we'll keep you updated on what kind of long sentence she gets, but unfortunately Jorge is dead.
Taunting, it has to be evidence of first degree, right? Like,
does Florida have some sort of law where, like, if it's like a very a unique murder, it just defaults to second degree?
Maybe.
if it was impressive.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe it's hard to. Maybe they just don't think they can plan well enough.
They
in
don't
Florida.
think he was dumb enough to get in the suitcase.
I don't know.
Oh,
Who knows? Anyway, sad story.
That is
sorry,
sad.
Jorge.
Sorry for the man who lost his life. And
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on to a different one, more lighthearted. This was a segment I'm going to call Double Dick Bros. First up in Pace, Florida, last Wednesday, Destin Scott Martin, 29-year-old Florida man, was charged with indecent exposure, trespassing, drug possession, and drug equipment possession after he got caught creeping on his neighbor's porch. So
he got the Florida 5.
Yeah, that's a serious list right there. That's the classic, the classic quintuple. The victim, which was his neighbor, a female, she was leaving her home for work when she saw Martin in her front yard, quote unquote, pleasuring himself. So, yes,
early in the morning.
Leaving for work. I'm assuming in the morning. Yeah, I didn't grab the timestamp there. But yeah, according to the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office arrest report, allegedly she told him to leave the yard, but instead Martin walked around the back porch, sat on a chair, and passed out, maybe with his penis still exposed.
Yeah, I don't think it was a concern of his to cover it back up.
No, it was more about the ejaculation in the front yard, probably, and then
after everything else was,
whatever
happens.
Then
after
go
that.
take a seat. You think like
off.
when she walked out was the moment he finally like got over the hump? Because it turns out he was dealing meth and smoking weed all night, so he was just methed up and trying to get his rocks off in the front yard. Like, do you think he was waiting for her to exit the door or something? I mean,
maybe he thought it was the only way he would get a wink of sleep is if he risked it all and wanked it in the front yard.
I mean, I'm sure he tried everything.
Yeah.
How much porn did this guy go through before he went out on the front lawn of the neighbor's house? Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I said, he had a scale and some meth on him, and also some pot. So he was just like, I guess, dealing meth and smoking pot all night. And then he was arrested and booked on $6,500 bond. Really not that bad for
that's not
jacking
too bad.
off
That's
in front
not
of your
bad for
neighbor.
what he did.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. And then next up in the Double Dick Bros.
Barely a slap on the
Right?
wrist.
Hard to believe. One dick bro wasn't good enough. A second Florida man in Pinellas County, Florida, Alan Ibanez, 24. He's been arrested on several charges. Initially, he was brought in at 3 a.m. on Saturday, so late Friday night, for trying to show his genitals to several tables of paying customers at the local IHOP. So just walking around the Pinellas County IHOP trying to show his dick to people, so the cops booked him on that at 3 a.m. Ibanez then bonded out the same day, that Saturday, but was immediately picked up again at 4 p.m. for stealing donuts from a local gas station. And his excuse to the cops was that he was stealing them for the cops because all cops love donuts so much, which I'm sure didn't get him slammed into the back of the squad car extremely aggressively. Just a classic example of a Florida dick bro with no common sense.
Yeah. So he was just going around the tables at the IHOP, and he was like, have you had the blueberry pancakes? And would you like to see my
They
dick?
said
sausage.
aggressively. Yeah, they said aggressively. So I guess that would probably be like a little bit tactfully. I think it was more aggressive than that. He was just grabbing it, shoving it in people's faces.
Move the coffee out of the way so I can
He needs to
shove my dick on this table.
He needs to stay away from breakfast items.
Yeah, he was a breakfast bro that day.
He was.
Yeah, he was. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't realize he went back for donuts. I didn't even
he
put
likes
that
breakfast.
together. But yeah, so also never a good move. Like it's not the cops don't find it hilarious that you're going to make a donut joke at them.
No,
so like that's only good.
I think it's more they're more mad of the unoriginality of the joke.
Right,
at this
that was
point.
like that was like it smells like bacon joke.
Right.
Yeah. It's really not creative. So it's not going to get you any points if you think it is.
No.
So that's that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, guys. Good news. It appears that I no longer need to worry about the coronavirus.
Oh, thank
Fantastic.
Yep.
God. You're getting exhausting.
Yep. It's tough. Losing years off my life. No more concern about it for me. Yeah. No more concern about it for me. I don't even have to read another article on it. No more tweeting about it or oddly defending its seriousness to people that think the common flu is more serious, Charles. And that's because Rodney Howard Brown, a pastor and an evangelical leader in the great city of Tampa, is going to completely remove the coronavirus from Florida.
Fantastic news.
What a guy.
So all I have to do is move back to the state where my beautiful wife was born, and I'm safe. So I'm packing my bags now. You see, RHB already fucking did this once before in Florida and said he's going to do it again. He cursed the Zika virus in the name of Jesus and completely removed Zika from Florida, and has now said we're going to do the same thing with the coronavirus.
Can you?
We do not. Yeah, he cursed it away.
What's he waiting for?
Yeah, he's going to do it.
I don't know if can you curse things in the name of Jesus? I thought that's like more of a devil kind of thing. I thought cursing was a devil thing.
Well, he mentions the devil later, or we get to that later. But
You can
I mean,
vanquish them.
I feel like you can.
smite them in the name of the Lord.
It's few and far between on your cursing for Jesus, but if it drastic measures like the coronavirus or Zika, you got to do it. Right. He said we do not need it on these shores, and he's right. And somebody asked him, well, what about the rest of the world? And he said, I mean, I can't be responsible for every city or wherever. He's in Tampa. I can just go head back to Tampa. I got family and friends there, so that sounds good to me.
I mean, if he's right, yeah, you should, absolutely.
Tampa's tourism's about.
Guy
to
sounds
be
like
booming.
a real role model, Mark. You should just like go. Devote yourself to following this dude.
You will have to take what RHB says with a bit of a grain of salt, though. As he has said numerous times, his congregation at the River Tampa Bay churches. That they're supernatural, his congregation. So that's big if true. I mean, it sounds like that's the church to go to if he's not blowing smoke.
They got the power of prayer, Mark.
Yes. He also allegedly saved all humankind before, not just Florida, when he took out a restraining order on the Antichrist will. So he's also he also uses
This guy is such a hero.
Yeah, he restrained Satan. He's not allowed within however many feet of any human.
I mean,
so
could you imagine what the world would be like without this guy?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It sounds pretty good to me. I'm sure Mike Pence, the new head of the coronavirus task force in the U.S., and not czar for some reason, because there isn't one. My name's still out there on the list. I'm sure Mike Pence is listening closely to what RHB has to say, and he's probably on Air Force 2 right now heading to Tampa.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
This is right up his alley. He's like, I knew it.
That's an approach I can relate to.
In his favorite cell phone list. Good Lord. People, they need to put that whole fucking church on a watch list. All right, guys, got a double Florida hospital one for you. Florida hospitals, I'm sure, just a lot of fun. The first one comes from Bobo. So if there's one sure way to get someone's attention, it's to light something on fire. Society and evolution have put into place several alarms and deeply instilled genetic triggers that will notify you immediately to pay attention to fire. And knowing those facts, one 75-year-old Florida man, John David King, he used that knowledge to his advantage when he felt the nurses at his hospital weren't paying him enough attention when he was asking for his clothes back. So he thought, maybe I should light my bed on fire. That will get me some attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's what he did.
I'm sure it worked.
That's exactly what he did. Yeah. By the way, he had been admitted for respiratory failure, so maybe coronavirus, not sure. But fire usually isn't good for that. Anyway,
well, they say you can beat the coronavirus with fire. I had heard that.
That is true. Absolutely. Maybe he was trying that. Who knows? Anyway,
in Florida, he's fine.
Right. As long as the pastor is cursed from his hospital, I guess he's going to be okay. Anyway, he lit a plastic bag on fire to the chagrin of his roommate, Samuel Moreno, who told King to knock it off. But when King relit the fire, Samuel pressed the emergency button, and the nurses rushed in to extinguish the fire. Meanwhile, King was making his escape, but was caught at the elevator and arrested and taken to jail. So, yeah.
When somebody lights a diversion fire, you always kind of at least want to hope that they get out of the building. Like, I would have liked the guy to get in an Audi at least or something, hop in a car.
Yeah. No, they caught him. Yeah. They caught him. And apparently total damages to the room amounted to $4,000 because those beds are expensive. And hopefully they gave Samuel.
They jack you up in the hospital. Everything's more expensive. It's like going to the ballpark.
Right. Exactly. Hopefully they gave Samuel a private room after that.
This Jello is out of sight.
Yeah, it's a $13 Jello square from the hospital cafeteria.
Yeah.
Hopefully your insurance covers it. No, all right.
Yeah, really, fuck me, I guess.
Racket. Yeah, fuck me. And our next one comes from Lula Giante. Thanks, Lula. Guys, I personally don't have a toe fetish. I've seen a few short clips online that are directed towards people with toe fetishes, and they seem pretty popular. Seems like a very strong fetish. And it seems one man, Franz Belderin, had that fetish. So Franz was assigned as a sitter at Florida Gulf Coast Hospital in Fort Myers. And what a sitter does is he keeps an eye on a hospital patient who might be a flight risk. What a sitter doesn't do is suck the toes of the other patient in the room.
Well,
but that's what Franz did.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Franz did.
It's not in the job description. Doesn't mean they don't do it.
It wasn't explicit that he's not allowed to suck the toes, probably.
You're right. They didn't tell him to just sit there and not suck the toes. You're
not going to get away with these wet feet.
Nobody said, hey, guy, listen.
Right.
Those toes right there, you don't suck those toes. So
good luck getting your socks and shoes on and escaping with those wet feet. There's no way.
Fair enough. So according to the victim, she felt a little tingling down at her toes and assumed the nurse was just checking for swelling. Then a second time, then a third and slightly more wet time. And when she sat up and looked down,
and she sees a forehead,
right,
and smiling eyes.
Yeah. Her gaze met Fritz, bent down on his knees, sucking on her toes. I guess the poor bastard got bored or something. I don't know. So after she called the nurse, France, was arrested. But he says it's just a big misunderstanding and that he had dropped his phone and was merely bending down to pick it up. And I guess he opened his mouth while bending down, and somehow the patient's toes got stuck in there.
Happens.
And once a toe is in France's mouth, he only knows one thing to do, and that's suck it.
Yeah. He also said, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, but if you want, I'll suck your toes if you let me off.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's your thing, officer.
I'm going to go ahead and believe the woman on this one about France and his little fetish he's got going. So.
Unrelated offer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's not a sitter anymore.
No. France isn't sitting anybody. All right. We got a double feel-good one for our last Florida story of the week. The first of the double is brought to us by Noah Springs 25 on Instagram. A family in Suwannee County, Florida, whose 3-year-old boy wandered into the woods last Tuesday, couldn't be found. The boy he wandered out into the woods, couldn't be located. So the family called the cops to say, hey, our boy's gone. Also, the dog happens to be gone. So the police organized a big team to do a deep sweep of the surrounding area. It's a rural area where the boy and the dog got missing. And that's when the neighbor called, who's a long way away, like I'm saying, not like a suburban neighborhood, saying that he had found a young boy and a dog, but that the dog would not let the neighbor or anything at all approach the boy. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So the dog was just protecting this boy like a shield, like a shield made of a dog. And so the cops had to come and get both of them, so that the dog would, so that somebody who could be bitten by the dog would help bring the boy back and the dog back to their family. And the family, they're all happy. And Wes, the article didn't really say what breed it was, but I took a gander at the picture, and let me tell you, buddy, it was a pit bull.
Oh, it was.
That's a pit bull doing a loving act for its owner.
Did you save the kid's life?
Did you check Snopes for this story?
No.
You think it's a
no,
myth?
but I'm gonna.
You think it's fake?
No, but this was Fox News, so I'm gonna say that it's probably pretty credible.
Damn.
Hey, that's awesome. That's great. I'm happy to hear some good news about pit bulls and that pit bull didn't eat the child.
Yeah, at the end of the story, the pit bull, the reason he was protecting him was because when the pit bull got hungry, he was going to eat him.
Yeah, exactly. He's protecting his game.
He's protecting his meal for later.
Yeah.
We literally have a pit bull at the Hard Factor HQ, and he's adorable. He's awesome.
He's a good guy.
He's like 90%.
Well, we'll never
so-
know, Wes, if that's what the
Back
pit
off
bull
all the
was
people that
doing.
think we're-
But he did
Yeah.
save the boy, even if he was saving him to eat him later.
Pit bulls are great.
Good job, Pete.
And the next feel-good one comes out of Boca Raton, Florida, where 34-year-old Molly Padrone was driving home from work on Tuesday when all of a sudden she had a seizure behind the wheel. Terrible. Next thing you know, smack, she's driven off the road and smacked her car into a canal. The car starts sinking, but lucky for her, local badass Sean Turner was there to hop in and have his sons film him discovering that she was having a seizure inside the car. So he just like dove into the canal, went in, looked for her inside the car, realized she was having a seizure, got his way inside the vehicle, like had to like get the window down and like wriggle through, free Molly from her seatbelt with the help of another guy who had swum in from the other side. And then just pulled her out, and they kept her they kept her head above the water, like she was still having a seizure, but they kept her head above the water until like authorities could get there to save her, I guess.
Jeez.
And so I mean, it's just an amazing story of these bystanders helping out. There was another dude involved with the rescue. His name was Adam Gunn, so that's just a cool name. So Boca Raton, amazing place, amazing people.
I bet it was Adam Gunn. Did they say like his profession? Because I'm guessing professional wrestler.
Yeah, at least one of these guys is an MMA fighter, I would assume.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know. But great people nonetheless, regardless of what their profession is. And thank you for saving this woman in her time of need. The only thing that would have been better is if Molly had her hands on some legal weed that could help her avoid those seizures. So
There you go.
way to end it on a high note, Florida.
Is Florida not medical?
I think they're medical, but she had her
are
last
medical.
seizure was 13 years ago, so she wouldn't have had a medical.
Well, this one's a big one. I think a doctor would hook her
Yeah,
up.
they would after the fact. And Florida Man
Yes.
Feel Good Stories today were brought to you by Predict It, who is also the presenting sponsor of our new gambling pick show that launches today. So at least it's going to be on YouTube, probably some other channels as well of ours. So keep your eyes peeled, BNN, Hard Factor. Go to predictit.org/promo/hardfactor20 to get your first $20 matched on us in the stock market or politics, where you can play along with Money Marv, Stakes, The Hammer, and whatever Pat's gambling persona is going to be when he joins the show next time. The new gambling
It's gonna be
show.
something.
Yeah, it's going to be something for sure.
I'm covered in glitter. I'm still covered in glitter from all of the swag.
The outfits were incredible.
Yeah.
The jokes were even better. The picks were the best part. The new gambling show is electric. Get your free $20. Do the bull dance. Feel the flow. Win some money with us on Predicted.
Hell yeah! All right, guys. To end the week, let's go over things we talked about that we'll end the week with, like some 5-star reviews, making fun of us, and so a couple voicemails we haven't gotten to. So let's get into it. So Guy 1 says on Apple Podcast, "Good podcast until ... And then it says, "I enjoyed this podcast for a few weeks until I saw a video posted on Instagram of the team."
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, let me finish it. Needless to say, this team is built for the audio arena. Still a great podcast despite their terrible faces. 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, send us your pick, Guy.
I don't know.
Well,
I like.
No,
that
I
one.
love the
hilarious.
review.
That's hilarious.
I love the review, and also to our defense, that's why we've been crowdsourcing our looks. All right, ever since we got this YouTube page going, we know we're not the best to look at. So you got like
we added some backdrop
Yeah.
to.
we're decorating.
We got a beautiful
We're decorating our
studio,
sets and ourselves. So like I'm fatter Farva now. Wes is like washed up Andre Agassi. Pat's
I'm letting my hair
gonna
grow
have a
out.
rat tail. Mark, there's gonna be a poll put out about your looks eventually.
That's fine. I was gonna go complete mop top, but yeah, that's
Well,
fine.
we're
Whatever.
gonna have to figure out what the question is.
Shave the eyebrows or something. EBJ_14 says on Apple Podcast, "Flashback Fridays" is the title. He said, "Love the pod. Listen to it daily on my commute. 5 stars. Would be cool to institute news stories or interesting history topics from the past and call it Flashback Fridays. Possibly do it every other week since Florida Man Fridays can get sort of old. Oh, yeah. That's how he ended it. So a few things for this one.
Great
real
idea,
quick.
though.
Yeah. Well, a few things for this.
Yeah.
It is a great idea, and Large and Vibs have an awesome new podcast called Twisted History that comes out, I believe, once a week. I think every Wednesday. I'm pretty sure. But go to Apple Podcasts, type in Twisted History, subscribe. They go ahead and they do that. They do just that. They do like a deep dive, an irreverent dive like we do on news topics, but they pick like a particular history topic or a particular person in history that's interesting and go over that each week. Large, if you ever want us or some of us to come on the show to guest, we'd be happy to.
Yeah.
Also feel free to come back for the Progress Corner. So
That's right.
I mean, check out Twisted History.
Miss Large.
Yeah, he's
Second.
fancy. He's fancy. He's in his fancy HQ. He's busy in New York. Also, another point on that, we almost did a recurring segment called "On This Day," and
Yes.
we never
That would be good.
never did. So
On this day in history, like
Right.
today's what, February 28th.
right.
So it would be like February
at the
28th,
very
1910.
beginning, we considered
Yeah.
doing that, but there's just so much news that we really couldn't make it a regular part of the show.
Right. But with the Florida Man Friday getting old comment, I would say this: we will do another poll soon and ask about that. Which we listened to all the polls, by the way. But the last time we did this Florida Man Friday was like well over 70%.
Yeah, it was still a hit. So.
It's so we'll check it out again, but maybe we could expand to other states to allow some other states to join in Florida Friday Fun, or maybe like Russia Man. But Florida's
wild, man.
Florida's the state that keeps on giving, so we'll explore that. But appreciate the feedback. Now let's get into a few voicemails. Give me a few seconds. I had to redo my setup here. All right, let's see. Let me find it. There we go. First one.
This guy's giving me shit about stuff earlier.
First one.
Technical stuff.
Hey guys, my name's Connor Sweet. I'm calling from Nashville, Tennessee. Love the podcast. I had a question. I wanted to see if you guys were coming to Nashville for the NRA convention this year. I think it's in March or early April. I know it's always in spring, but it's the last year. That'd be a cool time to come down and talk guns and meet with some of the right-wing folks, I guess. Anyway, but if you do, come down. We play at the stage here in Nashville every Friday, Saturday night. My name's Connor Sweet again. And I'll set you boys up. We'll get you some shots, get you taken care of if you like country music or that kind of stuff. Anyway, love the thing. Keep doing what you're doing, folks. Appreciate it. Bye.
So
Love that.
Great
Love
message.
that.
Yeah. Do we want to go to Nashville and hang out with Connor Sweet,
Yes.
drink some shots, and shoot some
Well,
guns? The answer is
See,
yes.
the
Of
best
course.
part about that voicemail is when he said, "Get you guys some shots," you had no clue if he meant guns or liquor. And that is the kind of trip that, yes.
We're getting both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's only a 10-hour drive from here. So
To Nashville?
It's
Well,
doable.
we need to find out. We got to look up. We'll look up. We'll get back to you. We'll look up when
Yeah.
when the
But
when the
thank you.
convention is.
All right,
but thank you,
next.
yes.
Next and last voicemail. All right, hang on.
What up, guys? I got a question. What do you think Tom Brady's career would have been like if he were drafted by the Browns instead of the Patriots?
Oh. Wow. I mean, shitty, probably.
not as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. What does he want from
I
us?
mean, like-
Just the bad mouth.
Right. I don't know. I
guess.
guess maybe he's trying to point out how important Belichick is or something. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like Brady probably it would have been different. I'm sure he would have been good because like he's so personally driven to be great. He's one of the the most competitive guys of all time.
Yeah, the Browns would be better.
Yeah, the Browns would
That's-
certainly be better,
yeah.
but you don't know.
You can say his career would be worse and the Browns would be better, and then you don't know how significantly either of those statements would
But
pan
6
out.
Super
but those are two
Bowls,
facts.
probably not.
The Browns would have been better,
Yeah.
and Brady wouldn't have won, 6, 7, 8, whatever the fuck, 5 Super Bowls he's
Depends
won.
on the teammates.
Yeah.
All those variables.
He is the
He's got
greatest
6
player, I would say,
He's
of
got
all time,
6 titles,
for football.
4 Super Bowl MVPs, 9 appearances, by far the most of anybody. But he looks like he's leaving the Patriots. So we will find out how well
maybe
he does.
maybe he's going to go to the Browns.
maybe we'll find out
'cause
for real.
They could use a quarterback. Sorry. And that's going to do it for Hard Factor. What a week, am I right? 50,000 viewers on the live debate pre- and post show early on in the week, ending it with Florida Man Friday and our first predicted gambling show, which is on Hard Factor News YouTube. It's going to be on Hard Factor News Facebook. Not sure when, but sometime today, probably around lunchtime. Check around noon. Might be up by now. Who knows? Today, let's see what else. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the debut of Money Marv Steaks and the Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
We give some good advice there. Tomorrow is the South Carolina primary, and this Tuesday is Super Tuesday.
Now,
Tomahawk
Tuesday. Make sure you watch that gambling show and make sure you decide what your approach is going to be when the markets shift after South Carolina. That's all I'll say about that.
So with South Carolina coming in this weekend, with Super Tuesday in 16 states or whatever on going on Tuesday, Hard Factor and Hard Factor Pat will be back and running through brick walls very early next week. But until then, please, for the love of God, have a great fucking weekend.
Oh, yeah!